So just a short report on the monsoon flooding and some Earth observation monitoring that has been carried out. So basically, I just try to see where I can get the information on the floods on a global scale or on the Asia-Oceania part. So I try to move towards the charter, International Charter on Space and Major Disasters. That is one of the global platform that provides data free of cost in cases of all major disasters that happen. And looking at this particular site, this is the spatial distribution from west to east. You can see different dots are there and different symbols are there. These symbols designate either maybe floods, cyclone, mud flows, or certain kind of landslides that have been triggered due to extreme rainfalls. So charter has been activated 19 times from May to September in this part of the region. Getting activated means the event is on a bigger scale where the country themselves are not able to support and they require external support. And this is the international charter. And why this charter is activated? Because there are 17 charter members. That means 17 space faring nations who have the capability to acquire data. They support the charter. And there are 270 contributing satellites. That means 270 satellites from these 17 charter members are looking at your place of disaster. And so you get more satellite images at a more faster, at a more faster time than you would have done alone with a single satellite or a fleet of 2-3 satellites. But you have a number of satellites and at different spatial and spectral resolutions, these satellites look, and charter has a kind of working mode that I will not discuss in detail, but once the charter is activated by an authorized user, it goes to an on-duty operator which works 24/7. Then it goes to emergency on-call officer, and a project manager is nominated, and charter members start giving their satellite images to PM, and the PM works on the data with its team, and the final products are delivered to the end user. In this case, the end user is the country where the disaster has struck, and these products are given to those concerned agencies on the ground. So this is the mechanism how charter works, and this can be discussed in detail in maybe in future we'll have. But if you have a closer view of activations, what these 18 activations are about, you can see floods and landslide in Kyrgyzstan, mud flow in Kyrgyzstan, floods in Afghanistan, landslide in India, floods in India in September, floods in Sri Lanka, floods in Nepal in July and August and September, cyclone Bangladesh, floods in Bangladesh, June and August, typhoon Yagi in Vietnam, Myanmar, Thailand, floods in Indonesia, Sumatra, floods in Indonesia, landslide in Papua New Guinea. So these are the 18 or 19 activations for which charter has been triggered. And if you see some of these events, they are at a very catastrophic scale. Whether you look at floods in Afghanistan, where you have more than 300 plus deaths, landslide in India, we had in Kerala, Wayanad, 400 plus deaths, floods in Nepal, and typhoon Yagi, which has impacted 3 countries, Vietnam, Myanmar, Thailand, in a major way, but other countries are also there which have been hit by this particular typhoon. So if we go further to the charter website, there are a lot of Earth observation data has been used to support these events, and which satellites, both from optical domain and from microwave domain, Cartosat 3, CS501, Gaofen 1, Gaofen 3, GeoEye 1, Global 1, Global 3, Global 4, ComSat 3A, Landsat 8, PlanetScope, Spot 6, Sentinel 2A, Spot 7, Pleiades 1A, 1B, WorldView 2, WorldView 3. And from microwave domain, ELOS Pulsar 2, RCM3, RISAT, Sentinel 1A, SAOCOM 1A, TerraSAR-X, TandemX. So these satellites have been contributed by the 17 charter members for these particular activations. And these satellites are provided both for the pre and the post disaster. So you get a free satellite during activation from these members. So some of the products that have been uploaded on the charter website. This site is an open domain site. Anyone can log in and see these activations, the products that are generated. So floods in Afghanistan, you can see the product on the left that has been produced by Unitar and UNOSAT for these floods. Then you can see landslide in India, July 30, 2024, Wayanad in Kerala. So lot of products are there on the charter website, right from microwave to optical images. And this was one of the serious events that we had, where we had more than 400 plus deaths. And we had an extreme rainfall event on the July 30th, more than 300 mm of rainfall happening. And a lot of damages and missing persons and displaced people are there. Similarly, in Typhoon Yagi, this is also which impacted Thailand, Myanmar, and Vietnam. So this is described as Asia's most powerful storms, which submerged part of Vietnam, Thailand, and other countries. Now, India, this is on a global scale, but on a local scale, India, Bhuvan, we have a portal from ISRO, which monitors the floods in the country that are happening in the country. And we have this particular website, which is called bhuvan.nrsc.gov.in is the login. And we have a near real-time flood monitoring icon over here. And if you go to this particular site, you can see that 16 states within the country have been mapped by the floods. If you go further to any state, you can pick the states are given on the left. You can go and pick any state, and you can see for Bihar, we have 49 satellite images from July, August, September, October. And if you click on these buttons over here, you can get the flood layer, which has been produced. And once the data is acquired, processed, these are put within 3 to 4 hours on the web page of Bhuvan, and you can see all those for the entire country. This is for only one state, but you can see for entire 19 states where these 16 states where these floods have been mapped. This is one of the picture that is showing you floods in Bihar from Sentinel-3. This is Ocean Color Land Instrument. This sensor is OCLI. Generally, Sentinel-3 is it is also an altimetric mission, but it has one sensor called OCLI, which shows Ocean Color Land Instrument. And this image is taken every day, though at a coarser resolution. So what I was able to conclude, what are the takeaway from these? If you see these events, most of the events are climate driven. These are extreme weather events that are happening at the time. Anomalous rainfall events happening in 24-hour spell, like we had in Nepal, or we had in Afghanistan, or in case of India, Wayanad, we had excessive rainfall that is happening in 24 hours. The spatial distribution of rainfall is getting changed, and we are having a lot of rainfall within a short span of time. Storms are becoming more intense and deadlier. If you see the cyclones that are happening in this particular part of the region in Asia, Oceania, you are finding that the cyclones are getting more deadlier, and we are having more category 5 cyclones. And the oceans and the reports, the climate reports that people are working are telling the oceans are getting more warmer, and that's why we are having more intensification of the storms. Magnitude of loss, that is life and infrastructure, is very high as compared to what we were having earlier. And satellites are playing a major role. And it is not only the satellites which are capturing the spatial extent, but the satellites which are capturing the damages on a vertical dimension, that are giving you elevation, which help you to estimate volume of the landslide material that has come up, and also supported by altimetric missions. So there are many stereo satellite missions. So a lot of missions are there which are supporting these events in a much bigger manner than what it was happening earlier by simply mapping the event. And what emerges is that strengthening of regional cooperation. We require more regional cooperation, that because these events are transboundary events. Meteorological forecasts have to be made more simpler. This is based upon all those events I have tried to study, and what emerges is that meteorological forecasts have to be more simpler and more understood by the community than by the scientific community themselves, because the people on the ground should be aware what that converts to and what kind of impact it will have on the ground. enabling application of technology to address mitigation efforts. More technology has to come, in our mitigation early warning planning. And last but not the least, bridging the gap through capacity building, whether it is modeling, monitoring, and mapping. And that is where I think EOTech is playing a big role in bridging the gap. That still, there is a lot of gap still between the science and the people on the ground and the people, the decision makers. So there is a lot of gap how to use this technology, although it is available, but still it has to spread in a much wider manner. So with this, and just last slide, there are certain trends and emerging technologies that are coming up. Satellite altimetry is one of the domain which is coming up in a big way. GNSS reflectometry, the global navigation satellite system. These are GPS signals. I know this is another novel approach that is coming up, though it is at a coarser scale, but temporal resolution is very high. At every 3 hours, you are getting one signal. There are 8. If you see the Cygnus cyclone global navigation satellite system, it has 8 passes in a day, and you get number of observations, and and every 3 hours you are getting an observation. And recently ISRO also has launched its GNSS reflectometry mission that is called EOS 08, where we have the sensor. And NASA NISR mission is there. NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar mission is there, where we'll get the L band and S band, and L band will be very useful for mapping of submerged vegetation or vegetation in the areas which are covered by canopy. Artificial and machine learning enabled tools. Already we had one spotlight presentation on Google Flood Hub, how they are making use of AI tools to predict the water levels at certain locations. Cloud computing is also coming up in a big manner, and we are moving away from the typical desktop applications, and this will play a crucial role in times further in increasing our speed and of observation and delivering the outputs on the ground. With this, I'll close my presentation. If any questions or anything is there, I will be happy to answer, and you can even put on the chat, and I will share my this particular presentation to the secretariat for further dissemination. Thank you.